Hi, my name is Tiffany Bonasisi, and this is my audio recording for the assignment titled Audio Analysis of a Reading Program. This assignment is for the course Brain-Based Learning at Grand Canyon University. To begin with, I will explain some key characteristics about how the brain learns to read. What is the most striking is that human brains are not wired for reading. Instead, we have our spoken language, but then, in order to read, we are asked to turn our spoken language in a written form so that it can be read. We as humans are asking our brains to do a lot. For our brain to read the letters and words on the page, our brains are working harder and stronger. This disrupts what our brain already knows and asks it to learn something completely new. Therefore, reading doesn't happen naturally. 50% of students are able to transfer from their spoken language to a written language, whereas 50% consider it a task, and for 20 to 30% of children, it will be the most difficult task they will encounter. With all this information, teachers must teach their students the basic foundational skills of reading at a young age. There are 5 skills that teachers must teach their students at a young age in order for them to be able to read in the future. They are phonological and phonemic awareness, alphabetical principle and phonics, vocabulary, fluency, and text comprehension. Teachers also need to know and understand that all students learn at different rates, some faster than others. Research has proven that these students make great achievements when provided additional support and assistance to thrive. Learning to read requires 3 neural systems and the development of specific skills. The first system is visual processing. This is when our eyes look at the letters in the words and the visual signals travel to the visual cortex located in the occipital lobes at the rear end of the brain. The word signals are decoded in an area on the left side of the brain called the angular gyrus, which separates it into its basic sounds or phonemes. This process activates the language areas of the brain located in the left hemisphere near and in the temporal lobe, where the second neural system, auditory processing, occurs. The auditory processing system sounds out the phonemes in the head, and the frontal lobe integrates all the information to provide meaning, which is the third neural system. The angular gyrus helps decode the visual word recognition signals for further processing in the left hemisphere's language centers. The reading program that I will be discussing is Wilson Language Training. In 1985, Barbara and Edward Wilson founded the Wilson Learning Center, which is for students with reading disabilities. In 1988, the first edition of the Wilson Reading System was published. Foundation's first edition was published in 2002, and I was unable to find when Just Words was first published. Those are the 3 programs that are embedded in the Wilson Language Training. This program, the Wilson Language Training, is published by the Wilson Language Training Corporation. This is a research-based, systematic, multisensory, and structured reading and spelling program. This program supports students in language and literacy by providing them with the skills they need in order to be successful readers. This is a 3-tier program. Tier 1 or Tier 2 uses the Foundations program for prevention and early intervention for grades K1 and 2. Tier 2 uses the Just Words program for intervention for grades 4 through 12. And lastly, for Tier 3, which is the most intensive, is the Wilson Reading System. This intensive program is used for students in grades 2 and up. This program was originally designed to teach students with dyslexia to read and write. However, in 2002, Wilson expanded its program to struggling readers in the general education setting. All students can benefit from this multisensory reading instruction. Some background information of how and why the Wilson training is effective is that dyslexia affects the development of the left temporal lobe in the brain that controls language. The primary areas of difficulty are phonemic awareness, vocabulary, phonics and word study, comprehension, and fluency. Evidence and research has proven that all struggling readers should receive instruction in all of these skills. These three-tiered programs are used in the classroom to meet the needs of individual students. These programs offer auditory, kinesthetic, and visual learning pathways for the students. Each program can be implemented in whole group instruction, small group instruction, one-to-one instruction, and for at-risk students. Tier 1 Prevention and Early Intervention Foundations for grades kindergarten through 3 is for 30 minutes 3 to 5 times a week. Tier 2 Prevention and Early Intervention Foundations for grades K through 3 is also for 30 minutes 3 to 5 times a week. Tier 2 Intervention, which is just words for grades 4 through 12, is for 45 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week. And Tier 3, which is the most intensive, the Wilson Reading System, is for 60 to 90 minutes, 2 to 5 times per week, one-to-one, or it can be done in a 45 to 90 minute session daily in a small group setting. I am very familiar with this program as I have taught it before. I taught foundations for first grade in the general education classroom for 2 years. Last year I taught special education where I taught foundations for third grade special education students in the resource room. Currently I tutor a kindergartner and use foundations for him as well. After conducting this analysis, I can say that I truly learned more about the program. I had no idea that the program began for students with dyslexia. I also was unaware that there were so many multiple programs and tiers that varied due to students' needs. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my audio recording.